This is Rating Descending,
where we watch IMDb's worst 250 movies so you don't have to.
My name is Michelle St. Clair.
And I'm Abigail Ward.
And this week we watched Getaway. To save his kidnapped wife, Brent Magna must drive at the orders of a mysterious man.
How are you, Michelle?
I'm good. I gotta.
What the fuck? She's dying. Get an ambulance. Get a fucking ambulance. What is that? She's opening up like a flower.
Hello, Abigail.
Oh my God.
It is I. I have hatched from Michelle.
Who are you?
I've been incubating in this human woman for 26 years.
Where's Michelle? Where's my friend?
Michelle is gone.
No!
She was nothing but a shell. An egg for me
My God,
to
she
grow.
was your shell because it's my shell.
Exactly. Now you understand.
What
for the
beast
first
are
time.
you?
It's the quickening, Abigail.
Sean!
It's me. Sean Connery.
I can feel it. I can feel it, Sean.
It's the quickening.
Yeah, so I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah,
I
sounds
got
like
I
it.
got a big job come through that I'm really excited for, even if it means that my next 10, 11 weeks or so are going to be really exhausting.
You're downplaying it for very good reason because you
Yeah.
don't want to talk about like your career, and you also had to basically sign an agreement where you didn't talk about it. But it's a very exciting job that you've picked up, and we're very proud of you.
Thank you.
Your editing career is back on track, baby.
A few weeks ago, I joked to my girlfriend that it feels like my career is mostly cosplaying as an editor. I just edit bullshit that no one watches in a back room or whatever.
Dude, you've got a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nah, it's
Up
kinda,
top.
Nah, it's kind of gay.
That's pretty gay, man. Up top.
Yeah.
Fuck, we can't reach.
Ugh.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it.
Nice. You're having sex on the reg?
Yeah.
That's rad.
That's
Pretty good.
and you know what? It's pretty positive. As someone who has previously in my life had intimacy issues, let me tell you, it's fucking safe feeling as hell.
Nice.
She's emotionally respectful and makes me feel appreciated in my body.
And that's the sexiest thing of all.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it really is.
Dude.
Yeah.
Up top, man.
Gnarly.
Ah,
Yeah.
get that consensual pussy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, consensually.
We're communicating effectively every step.
Whoa, man.
And she is hella respectful of my boundaries, even when they change from moment to moment.
Yo!
Yeah,
Now
man.
that's gnarly.
Yeah. You know what's really rad? Open and honest communication during sex and any intimacy.
Bruh. Truth. No cap. Man, that's poggers.
Ow. Yeah. I'm riding a skateboard now. That's just a crow. Wait, that was your contribution as a crow?
I'm just like, I've got a sound effects board. I'm just going ham. Zoinks!
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this.
Sachet away. It's modern. It's updated.
Why I oughta.
Eat my shorts. Really scrape the bottom of the barrel for that one.
You did.
There's only so far my imagination goes. And that's cute. Me and my boyfriend, insane.
Oh, you got a boyfriend?
Yeah, dude. And we're having sex on the regular up top.
Is there open and honest communication and checking in consensually?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah, man.
Oh.
What's that?
Hell yeah.
Oh, you're getting smashed? Me too.
Yeah.
By smashed, I mean like sex. Like no, we're not gonna enjoy. It's sex.
But you're both getting it in the specific way that you enjoy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
We actually
It sounds like we're doing a bit, but this is actually how I feel about sex.
no. This is actually how we talk. When the mics are off, we're like, dude,
Yeah.
tight set.
This is my podcast voice, but this is natural, Michelle.
Michelle, I just got home from work and it was nasty. I'm gonna go cry in the shower, my dude.
Yeah, when I was a baby, my mom just put me in front of Tony Hawk videos with headphones on for 48 hours at a time.
Whereas I was heavily influenced by Croc. Why I sound like this? Kablam! Slap!
Stupid. Stupid.
What do you think of this film,
Stupid
Abigail?
thing to say.
Shut the fuck up. Don't get high and mighty on me. You pretended to be the quickening coming out of a flower.
Well, coming out of me.
Yes, you're the flower.
I was the
Because you're
chrysalis.
special and precious.
Aw, thanks. But speaking of things,
You don't even need to segue. You could just be like, hey.
hey, I don't know. I feel like I reckon I could count on my hands how many times we haven't segued with speaking of. So, it feels like it's part of the inherent format of the podcast.
Wow.
So would I break that right now? Yes. So this week we watched Getaway. I feel like we've had like a string of movies where like the problems with it are always based in the filmmaking, but also there's been like a lot of extra layers of like bigotry and social problems and not aging well and stuff. This one, just good old fashioned, really bad.
100%.
Just real sloppy filmmaking.
It was balls to the walls, bananas, pajamas.
You could make the argument that the female characters are underwritten, and the only thing I would have to counter that is so are the male characters.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't really succeed on either front.
I need you to describe to me the plot of this film, because as much as I did try to follow it, I did struggle. But my initial thoughts were, it was fun.
Yeah, it was
actually fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't painful to watch,
Well,
it had Selena Gomez and it had Ethan Hawke, and even though they were terrible in this film, at least that they're actually like not trustworthy actors, but they've been in films that I've enjoyed before. That's something.
Selena Gomez has been in a movie that you've enjoyed before. What movie was she in that you enjoyed?
About 30 seconds she was in The Big Short.
Right. Oh, yeah. I would argue that was one of the weakest 30 seconds in the movie.
This is true.
Yeah, I agree with you that it was painful. Wait, no, sorry. I disagree with you that it wasn't painful, but I felt like it was the kind of pain, when you like dig your nail into your skin and it like hurts a little bit, but you're in control of the pain, so you're like having fun with it. Yeah. This movie was kind of like that. I wouldn't say I had a good time, but I did have fun.
No.
Yes.
No.
This movie is like a freight train into your brain going 180 kilometers an hour, just like blasting a hole into your...
it's action-packed, but the problem is, because it starts off at like a 9, the climax is like still kind of at a 9, and you're like,
I disagree. It starts at a 12.
Yeah.
And
if anything, it does de-escalate
and then
further throughout the film.
Yeah, about 8 minutes later, it goes down to a 9.
Yeah.
But then goes back up to a 10.
You really shouldn't start that strong. Because we got like... I remember I checked the time and I was like, I'm 13 minutes in and I feel like I'm in the third act already.
Yeah. I mean, I rewatched what I would call the first act, which was the opening 7 minutes. Like, you feel like you're already 20 minutes in. The opening 7 minutes are like intercutting 3 scenes simultaneously, none of which you have any context for, all of which you need to have watched in order first. And it's almost like it's trying to save time. Like, instead of taking 15 minutes to start the movie, it's like, what if we just do it in 3 minutes and then just like smash cars together?
Yeah.
It was fucking buck wild. Like, absolutely insane. Incomprehensible gibberish.
Yes. And I think the cause behind that was the editing in particular. And that like everything just cut so quickly.
Yeah.
And I was constantly confused about where things were, what I was looking at, what had been happening.
If you are a fan of like Hong Kong cinema, which is really, really good at geography and placing characters within a scene, then you will hate Getaway. Because I at no point felt like I knew where anyone was in relation to any other car or any other frame of reference. If they were on a street, it could have been any street. At any point, they could have been anywhere in it. It was impossible to place any object in any way. You really can't keep track of what's going on. But while you're unable to keep track, the movie's going...
Stop! Oh my God, we're gonna die! That's just Selena's every second line.
The dialogue...
Oh my God! Wait!
The dialogue in this is interminable.
All right, Selena, so just turn to the left and just say something along the lines of like, you're gonna kill us. You're gonna kill us! Great. All right, now turn to the right and just say like, oh my God. Oh my God! Amazing. It's a wrap.
she performs this like she's in high school doing a script read.
Yeah, give us the overview because I
Yeah.
need to just wrap my head around this. I just watched this film and I could not comprehend most of it.
I watched it at this point almost a week ago, and you watched it like you finished like 20 minutes before we started, and we probably understand at the same amount.
But that's because you've got an overview, baby.
Yeah, I'll do the outline. Former race driver Brent Magna arrives home to find his wife missing and home destroyed. He then receives a phone call from The Voice, who reveals himself as his wife's kidnapper. The Voice tells Magna that he must follow a set of instructions precisely in order to be reunited with his wife. He orders Magna to steal a specially customized Shelby Mustang from a parking garage, and that if he does not follow any of his instructions or is caught, his wife will die. Magna begins to follow the Voice's increasingly dangerous plans before he runs into the Kid, a young girl who tries to steal the car at gunpoint before Magna is ordered to drive away with her in the car. Quickly, she reveals that this is in fact her car, and Magna realizes that this meeting was set up by the Voice. Continuing to follow his instructions, Magna takes the Kid to a bank so that she, as an expert hacker, can rob the place for the Voice. She realizes that as her father owns the bank, the Voice is trying to frame them whilst robbing the bank, and they quickly speed away. Finding the Voice's thugs, Magna manages to grab the hard drives crucial to the Voice's plans and his wife, but the Kid is taken. Chasing him down, Magna crashes Voice's car and saves the Kid. However, he then receives a call from the Voice, revealing that the man he just captured was a decoy, and the Voice walks away with $3 billion.
Damn. It's a tragedy, man.
Yeah.
You think you get this film and then they just pull out them punches on you.
I tried
More
so
than anything,
hard
I
and
was-
got so far.
Dude, save that voice for after. You know, that's not the rule.
Sorry.
Man, God, what a disaster.
Love Nirvana.
Look, I'm just going to say it. Biodome changed us.
Yeah.
I spent the whole film in frustration because the Voice is a character that is talking to him, giving him orders, and you could see bits of his mouth and his fingers,
Yeah.
but you weren't allowed to know who it was. But the whole time I was like, "That's definitely John Voight, right?"
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
at the end it
same.
was John Voight, and I was like, "Oh,
Same.
it was John Voight."
because it
what a
means-
reveal!
It means that when you see the man, you're like, that's not John Voight.
Yeah,
And then later, when you do see John Voight, you're like, oh, yeah, there he is.
yeah. The man in the car that wasn't John Voight. I was like, "Is that Malcolm McDowell?" Like he looks really McDowley.
He did look McDowley.
What's the term? Is it McDowell-esque? McDowellian. I think the common term for this is
yeah, the famous standardized term.
McDowellation. That's the disorder that you form when you look too similar to McDowell.
I think it's a McDowellishan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is like when you
Stems from the
crossbreed a
Latin
Dalmatian
phrase.
with a Malcolm.
Right.
Stupid.
Webster's dictionary defines McDowelling.
What is this, a bad wedding speech? Hey.
Yeah, it ends up being John Voight, and you're like, right,
Yeah.
cool.
So that's like the main twist of the movie. Really obvious. On a similar opposite side of the same coin, did you know that this movie was set in Bulgaria?
No. What the fuck? The only inkling that I had that it wasn't America
Yeah.
was at the end when the police cars actually pulled up and I saw the guys get out of the car and I was looking at the surroundings and I was like, I don't think this is LA or like, I don't think this is an American city. But it was that tiny inkling at the end. We're just looking at the geography and the architecture and the cop cars properly. I was like, that doesn't look very American. But I didn't think for a second it actually wouldn't be American.
The whole movie is in Sofia, Bulgaria.
Why?
Bulgaria. What do you mean? It's just where it's set. I assume Bulgaria.
Why is everyone like? Why are these two people American and they don't discuss the fact that they're two Americans in Bulgaria?
They kind of. I had to watch really closely for this.
Well, that's always a good sign of storytelling.
Yeah. I assume Bulgaria had amazing tax credits, and they just knew it would be cheaper to shoot there.
Right.
Also, I assume there's a sense of like, well, we can get away with destroying things because Eastern Europe is fucked up, which is how Americans think of Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
But they do, because the whole thing is that Magna's.
Well.
See how I directed my burp away from the mic?
That's what I hear. Bitching.
That's what you hear when I talk? Aw, Like, the only parts of the movie that are set outside of Bulgaria is the flashbacks at the beginning to Brent walking home and at the very end when we see the voice. Both of those are in the US. So Brent goes to Bulgaria to get the car. The kid is there because her dad owns an investment bank in Sofia, and she mentions that they had to move there for it.
Sorry, so he goes to get the car from Sofia.
Yeah.
Where did he live before that?
The US.
Okay, so he had to fly to Europe to get this car.
Yeah.
We didn't see that time elapse.
Well, no, that's because the movie begins, but the movie knows that beginning point doesn't make sense. So
What beginning point doesn't make sense?
the actual, because when the movie begins, he has just already stolen the car.
Yeah.
And
it
then-
starts with a lot of flashbacks.
Well, that's the thing. 10 seconds into the movie, it flashes back to 10 seconds prior to the opening of the movie. That's the baseline we're working from in this movie.
Yeah.
It starts and he's in the car. Then it flashes back to him breaking into the car. Then it flashes back to him turning on the car. Then it
This
flashes...
car was actually the inspiration for Memento.
It flashes
the acclaimed
back
Nolan film.
even further to him walking into the house destroyed. And then it flashes back even further to when the house wasn't destroyed and his wife was just home. And then it flashes to in between
that bit
those
is
points.
it's intercut, that bit of like, his wife and the guy breaking in and him finding his wife
Well, because there's
missing.
Yeah, there's him coming home finding his wife is missing. His wife actually being kidnapped, and then them at home in general. And then those three things are intercut with each other, whilst all being intercut with him having just stolen the car and him actively stealing the car.
Yeah. Don't you love a storyline where it's a male protagonist and the inciting incident is that his woman has been taken and is in trouble and it's
Yeah.
up to him to solve it?
I wrote down, I was like, this is a Liam Neeson movie where they couldn't afford Liam Neeson.
Oh my god! Ethan Hawke's like, I love when actors have to put on that like faux male huskiness for a role. I mean, Bruce Willis changed everything the day that Die Hard was released and
Yeah.
he gets off the plane and he's like, California.
Come up, have a
And
few
with Ethan
laughs.
Hawke, he's like, I just want my wife.
Yeah.
It's such a fun trope. But it's
yeah,
also
I wish we
fucking infuriating.
I wish we stayed with the Harrison Ford of I didn't kill my wife. Imagine if modern movie protagonists took the cues from that instead.
Yeah, 100%. Because Dr. Kim, I think his name's Kimball, right?
Yeah, Dr. Kimball.
Richard Kimball.
Yeah.
He's not really super mask. He's a doctor. He's got like a rugged beard, but he's quite like, when you see him in his normal world, he's like suited up and he has like an arty wife and he has a very like, I don't know, very posh existence. He's not like a huge hulking man. So it was quite refreshing to watch The Fugitive where he's just using his smarts and being agile and quick rather than
people-
being like, my wife,
Like,
and then hitting a wall with his bare fists.
it's not that people are wrong when they say that like the 70s and 80s had problems with over like rules around masculinity and toxic masculinity. But I also don't think people realize how much more rigid some of the rules are around masculinity now. Like the idea of having feelings being seen as not masculine was not a thing in a lot of pop culture in the 70s. Maybe
Yeah.
it was in like the suburbs and like regional areas, but like in a lot of pop culture, in a lot of movies, in a lot of music, you know, like the Bee Gees were all, and disco was all about like sharing your feelings of tragedy and stuff.
So you think we're masking more up as time is going on?
It
you
follows
reckon?
the trend of how, like, for example, kids' toys are more gendered than they have been since the 50s.
They're getting more gendered now.
More and more gendered.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I thought maybe we just know a lot of like lefties, but I feel like a lot of the discussion has become like has been centered around getting rid of like gendered toys and gendered clothing for kids, and I thought that kind of change was being made.
I feel like it's been reducing, but I honestly feel like we think the peak was the 70s when it was actually probably 2012.
Interesting.
Like-
with the release of Magic Mike 1. I haven't seen it.
But like, there's a lot of
I don't know when it
movie
was
protagonists, male movie action heroes who are like quite sensitive pre-90s blockbusters with like Bruce Willis being like, no, it's all about being the hard man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe action films lended to that strange trope of masculinity. I mean, masculinity and femininity is always on my mind, especially because I know so many men that genuinely struggle with allowing themselves to be soft and be feminine and like just not even be feminine, just like let down that masculine guard.
Yeah.
And like it's a proper struggle.
I might also be wrong, and it just feels that way because there is more examples of femininity mingled with masculinity. Because my favorite phrase I ever heard about the 70s and 80s, especially to do with like glam rock and stuff, which is when it comes to like masculinity and not being able to express your emotions or even queerness, is that if you put your thumb on a hose, it sprays everywhere. And that's how you get glam rock. Of like, look at how fucking masculine I am.
Yeah.
With my afro and tight fucking pants.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Anyway, this movie fucking sucked.
It really fucking sucked.
One of my notes, just to jump back to where we were, one of my things I wrote down while watching it was first act, never heard of her. Because that really is how it feels. I would argue, though, even though I wrote that down, about 15, 20 minutes in is when the kid is introduced as a character.
Yeah, but she's not really an inciting incident. Like, she's not like, she changed his world, but really she's like a first act turn kind of thing.
Which I think is the problem with the movie, is that like they're timing the structural beats right, but they are wrong as to what the structural beats are.
Yeah.
Like they wanted him meeting the kid to be the turning point. But it just isn't for that narrative. And that's why, like, the opening 10 minutes is hyper crushed, is because it's the opening 20 minutes of the movie it's trying to be.
The inciting incident happens in the first, like, minute. It's insane. It's wild. Balls to the walls, action.
Yeah, and also, like, it takes a really long time for the characters to get up to speed with what's going on. Like, he's already stolen a car and crashed, like, 5 police cars in that opening 8 minutes before he has an explaining phone call. But then one of the first things he's asked to do by the voice is to like drive through an intersection. And he's like, but there's a red light down there. As if like, I can't break the rules. I'm like, you fucking already stole a car and made a bunch of other police cars crash.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Also, going back to Ethan Hawke really quickly, by the way.
Sure.
I don't know much about Ethan Hawke as a person. Like,
I think that's fair.
Is
that's
he
a good
usually
choice.
like an action hero? Is this an odd choice for him?
Ethan Hawke's an odd guy. It is both an odd choice and also not an odd choice. Ethan Hawke's career is like actively wanting to do indie darlings and then having also absolutely no problem with doing whatever bullshit comes across his desk. It's so fucking weird. Like, obviously he was fucking good in Dead Poets Society. Yeah, and just reading here, I forget, he's in Reality Bites, which is the one with Winona Ryder and Ben Stiller, which is like it's like a Gen X coming of age sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I remember him from his like Before Sunrise and Before Sunset as well.
Well, exactly.
And the fact that he had children with Uma Thurman.
Yeah, he loves working with Linklater. He's also in like Boyhood and stuff.
Oh, okay, got you.
But like so many, he was also in the first Purge movie. Like looking at his filmography, he's in a fucking outrageous amount of movies.
Yeah, he's very popular.
I wouldn't describe him as a typical action hero though.
No. He is definitely an actor that if we played Celebrity Heads,
isn't he? Yeah.
he's definitely an actor.
Yeah.
He's definitely an actor where if you played a game of Celebrity Heads, you'd never be able to choose him. Like you'd never be able to pick him because he's just like not remarkable enough in any sense.
No.
You don't also know that much about him apart from the fact that he had a famous marriage.
He's been both really good in some movies I've watched as well as being the worst part of it.
Honestly, you know what? I don't know much about Ethan Hawke, but I'm just going to say it now. Nasty guy. I can feel it. I don't need the evidence. I know he is.
Well, okay. I was going to say we shouldn't
man.
start the rumor, but let me just go to the like personal life.
Ethan Hawke killed a child. Is what you're trying to say.
Personal life. Filed for divorce amid Hawke's infidelity. That's not a good sign.
In 2015, Hawke strangled a newly born child and butchered the pieces, buried it in an open, shallow grave.
He has criticized the movie business being a boys' club and has spoken in support of Colin Kaepernick.
He also put a island, like a small island's worth of rubbish into the ocean, and then he did a maniacal laugh afterwards. He is responsible for the hole in the ozone over Australia. He also killed JFK. Did you read that bit? It's at the bottom.
Yeah. No, here it is.
He was the gunman on the Grassy Knoll.
He Yeah, that's why
I'm glad someone's finally saying it.
it would be the giveaway is that we don't really talk about his middle name. It's Ethan Harvey Hawke.
But they always call him Old Hawkeye. Great name.
He was
not a
also
great
in
guy.
MASH. But like the Robert Altman original.
Yeah,
Like,
and he
that's-
was also in the Avengers, right? Is there someone called Hawkeye in the Avengers?
Yeah, there is.
Fuck
yeah.
yeah, nailed it.
You fucking did it. Well,
Did
that's
it.
that's why like all of these different versions of Ethan Hawke through time come together in Ethan Hawke Endgame.
Into the Hawkverse.
No,
Hawkeyverse.
Ethan Hawke Endgame.
Yeah, I didn't know the
No,
references.
Into the Hawkverse is better. And
Thank you.
you punched up my joke before I said it, so you know what? I can't blame you.
You know what? It takes a large woman to admit to that, and an even larger woman.
Yeah, and I'm 6'2", baby.
Oh shit! She's got to be enormous.
and I know how to admit a lot of stuff.
Damn. What else do you have to admit to? I was also the gunman on the grassy knoll. You and Ethan Hawke buddied up.
Yeah. It was actually pretty fun. It was
Yeah,
a good time.
but he's a nasty guy.
Yeah, nasty guy. He supports gay rights. He's a feminist, but he cheated on his wife.
Nah, it's a thumbs down from me. I'm sorry, you don't do that. Wait, what's his wife?
Thumbs down from Abby.
Did he cheat on Uma?
Yeah, that's why they divorced.
Oh, he cheated on her.
Yeah,
He
but he's a
imagine, like,
feminist.
I don't. This is why I can't feel safe. Imagine being Uma Thurman and someone cheats on you. It's like I'm Uma Thurman.
Well, that's why I feel like
How could you?
the lesson of cheating shouldn't be that it's a personal flaw with yourself.
This is true. It never is. It's 100% true. But also, it's Uma Thurman. It's like how if Jay-Z really did cheat on Beyonce, you're like, Beyonce was literally not
Come
enough. Yeah, I know. It was probably a publicity stunt, but
Oh, I was saying the opposite. I was like, you're telling me
no,
anyone?
it's-
Yeah,
you
okay.
definitely did.
Yeah. You're telling me Jay-Z
Jay-Z.
didn't cheat on Beyonce? Come on. Come
Get
on.
the fuck out of here.
Yeah, come on.
Put your head out of your fucking ass.
Yeah, sure. Jay-Z, Mr. Rapper turned businessman, is totally
He's
faithful.
faithful.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Even if you're Beyonce, you're going to get cheated on. And that's what you got to think about, boys and girls. Love is never worth it. Don't try. You'll only get hurt. But you do get regular sex up top. Up top.
Righteous.
Nice. Tubular, dude.
We should stop high-fiving and in the process doing visual bits for our audio podcast.
Disagree. This is just for you and me, baby.
We wouldn't be truthful to ourselves, and what the audience really likes is truthfulness, and that's why our audience is so small.
Let's recap on what we've covered so far.
Sure.
This film was really fast, had no first act, and Ethan Hawke was the gunman on the grassy knoll.
Yeah.
What's next?
That's what we know.
That's what we know. But facts are still coming in live. So you'll get a minute by minute update on what's going the fuck on with this movie.
One of the main things I wrote is they definitely think the audience is stupid. Like, I don't know. So much of the dialogue in this movie, especially in the second act, of just like Ethan Hawke and Selena Gomez just sitting there having dialogue is like the most boring choice of dialogue and incredibly expository.
It's either exposition or them being like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
We need to get out of this.
That's so weird.
Oh my God.
Selena
Can't you see what he's doing?
Selena Gomez's character who gets her real girl boss moment
Yeah,
because she's
I
like,
like-
it's my car. Oh, I like boy things, so you
She's
think
like,
it can't
I
be
like-
my car?
She's like, all right, I like cars and computers, all right? It's the 21st century. Catch up. When you're not... I think she was like...
Take that,
"Catch up."
old man.
I think she said, catch up when you're not doing criminal things.
Yeah.
The dialogue was crazy.
I understand that she feels justified, but like, because it's her car. But also, like, she did come at this car with a gun and is like, you're a criminal and thus a bad person, and I hate you, and I think you're a villain and evil.
You know when your car
So
gets
weird.
stolen and someone says, hey, like, I'm the police, your car is at this location, go pick it up.
Yeah.
So you come with a gun. You know when you bring a
Yeah,
gun?
you bring a gun, you see the car, and you're like, of course. The police officer wants me to take this car.
What I love about Selena Gomez is A, girl boss, and B, vigilante justice. She takes matters into her own hands.
Yeah,
and
but
I
this
love
is
that.
She makes the classic fatal mistake I have with a lot of vigilantes, which is every person who ever commits a crime is thus evil.
Yes.
Like, it's real. Like, I'm sure she voted for like Paul Ryan even above Trump. She's just into law and order. She's like, you're a criminal and a bad person. And he's like, hey, they're literally threatening to kill my wife, and you can hear the voice of the guy who's ordering me to do these things under the threat of death.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, hope you rot in hell, fuckface. And I'm like, how are you not getting what's going
character.
on?
Also, I love how like you're like 3/4 of the way through, and she's like, you don't even know my name, do you? And he's like, and she's like, heh. And then at the end, she was credited as the kid, and I was like, gross. And then obviously John Voight was credited as the voice, and I'm like, what smart Alex screenwriter thought it would be interesting to not give her a name and to make him just the voice? Like, that's fucking lame shit.
Here's an even weirder thing.
Was Brent Magna.
Yeah.
Is it Magnum or Magna?
Magna.
Terrible.
Here's an even weirder thing. I didn't include this in my trivia. There was meant to be originally a scene where her name was revealed as Alex, which was meant to be a reference to her character on Wizards of Waverly Place.
Okay.
But they cut it. But they didn't cut the bit where she says, you don't even know my name, which makes it even weirder that he then doesn't go, what's your name?
Yeah.
And she says it. Like, what kind of an awful person are you? That is social manipulation, and I hate it so much. To just go like, you didn't even ask me about this basic detail. And then to stay silent about it.
Yeah.
Like, if you want me to know it, say it.
Yeah.
Like, come on, don't be a dick. Don't do that.
Who hurt you?
So many people
Oh
in my life.
God.
Been hurt so many times.
By who?
Just a lot over the years. And I get really stressy when there's lots of like, I don't know, like I'm bad with names, but I'm great with faces. And I hate that socially we value remembering someone's name over someone's face. Because I'll always be like, I recognize you, but I do not remember your name. And it's just because names are an arbitrary collection of syllables that we assign to a person. Often they're not even words that are to do with something else. So I can't be like, oh, summer, like the season, cool. It'll just be like, Philip. And I'm like, well, there's no fucking word called Philip. How would I possibly remember Phil-ip for you? It's just, you could say 1569 and it would be the same bunch of shit.
I know what you're saying. I don't fundamentally agree with it, but I completely believe, almost suspected you'd say something like this.
You've seen me watch movies. I'm like, oh, that's the guy that was in 30 seconds of that one episode of The Office. Like, I can recognize anyone, but then it's like, what's their name?
That
I'm
names
like,
are a collection of syllables
Jack
that don't have
Dodgson.
something
Who
to
the
do
fuck
with
knows?
anything else. That's true, I guess.
They're gibberish. They're nonsense.
Also, names have meaning and have evolved from old words of descriptors, so they do stem from
I don't
somewhere.
know. In English, a lot of them are just from the Bible. It's just fan fiction.
Or it's like, it's like a descriptor of something natural and it's just taken shape.
So
like,
much
it's like
of
light.
So much of Western civilization is just fanfic of the Bible.
Also, why did I never do fanfic of the Bible? I'm gonna write.
Well, just look at any medieval art.
Wait, do you reckon there's fanfic of like Judah and Jesus fucking? Like, there has to be
100%.
Like, I just need to check. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Tumblr had limits.
Yeah, 13-year-old girls are depraved. I know, because I wrote fan fiction about the History Boys having really fucking like graphic sex.
Yeah,
with
we
each
go
other.
teenage boys are gross, but teenage boys are like, look at this toad in the mud, and then teenage girls are like, oh, look at this fucking sacred person putting their fingers, their whole fist up Jesus's asshole.
Judas slips a hand up Jesus's thigh. Jesus shudders in the warm Bethlehemian winds.
But for real, we say it's weird that, like, oh, you named your daughter Arya after Arya Stark? That's lame. I named my child Joseph after Jesus. Come on.
Come on.
Come on. Everyone on Earth named Michael or a derivative of Michael is just named after some fucking angel. Stupid. Names are, I mean, it's not stupid. What I actually meant to say was the opposite, which is they're all equally valid and not stupid. Hang on. It's great.
Do you want to hear a little snippet of a Jesus and Judah fanfic? Just really quickly, just on
okay.
the side, for the listeners.
Yeah,
This isn't for me. I'm not saving this. I'm not
me-
going to return to this later tonight. It's for you guys, the listeners.
Let me add an edit point so I have the full ability to cut this out for time.
It's called The Announcement. Jesus had finished his daily workshop with his disciples when Judas had asked to help him out. Jesus, I forgot my suppressants. I need... He couldn't spit the words out. They had been alone at the time, and Judas was in a strong heat, worse than ever.
Suppressants?
He said suppressants.
What?
Judas's POV. Sorry, Jesus's POV. Judas, you know I can't sin like this. I looked down at my feet. I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't help it. I'd like Judas for a while now. Jesus, please, he begged on his knees. There was no possible way I could say no to that. Time skip. After our platonic makeout session.
What?
So, after...
And that's all, folks. All right, that's really
After
good.
our platonic...
Getaway was so weird. What a crazy movie.
After our
Selena
platonic
Gomez,
makeout session, Judas seemed different, something I couldn't quite put my finger on. Jesus, we can't do this anymore, he said, pulling further back and facing the bedsheet we had been sitting on. Is this because of the boner I got last week? I told you that was very platonic, I said, quickly hoping our spicy sessions didn't have to end. Holy shit, they get married at the end.
Oh, cute. Do they give each other a friendship handy later?
Yeah. Total platonic wedding rings. For sure.
It's not gay.
It's not gay.
It's just bros being boys.
Just bros being hubbies. You're my bro and my hubby. You're my brubby.
Before we move on to the next section, I just wanted to say one last thing.
What?
Because it was one of my favorite things in the movie.
Sorry, is it about Jesus and Judah?
It's actually not. That's part of
Oh.
where I'm pivoting away.
Am I interested? I don't know. Just have to read a couple more chapters of my fanfic and I'll return to this podcast.
Look, we have previously not made clear enough that we're making fun of like either hyper-religious or non-religious tradition instead of actual legitimate faiths, but we just read out a Christian fanfic, so I don't know if we can make that case anymore.
I don't care. I'm alienating any demographic I want. It's my podcast. And yours.
No, you've staked your claim.
Yeah, sweet. Anyway, this was my podcast, Rating Descending.
Oh,
You've been listening to Abigail Ward and literally nobody else.
come on.
I'm just going to edit out all your bits. It's just me talking to a blank wall this whole episode. Back to the Getaway.
Yeah. One of my favorite bits of the movie was right at the ending. The voice is on the phone and he's like, hello. Also, for whatever reason, John Voight's putting on a weird accent, even though he is ostensibly American. And also, he's stealing $3 billion, which is the second case in this list of someone trying to steal way more money than I think the screenwriter understands.
Yeah.
$3 billion is outrageous.
Also, I'm fairly sure he's meant to be German. It sounds like a very
Maybe.
vaguely German accent that he's been putting on.
It's like, Magna, you think you have won, but it seems that I am still here. While he's like looking at the guy in the car and he's like smiling.
Yeah. Well.
I'm sorry.
Look who's burping now.
Sorry. It was an accident.
How does it feel?
Terrible.
Yeah,
I
doesn't
feel guilty about it.
Yeah, now you know.
Oh my God.
Now you fucking know.
Ugh.
Get on your hands and knees and beg.
I already am. That's how I record.
Yeah, no, same. That's cute. We're just doing what is it? The cat stretch.
Yeah.
You raise your back, you lower your back.
No, you nailed it. Downward dog.
The retching cat.
That's
Yes.
yes. He's on the phone, and he's like, you think you know what is happening, but you don't. And then the camera, like, it starts tracking out, and then it goes out even further, so that you just see like the cityscape of Sophia, and then it's going out further, and then it goes all the way to space to a satellite, and then points to the US and zooms down into the US. all the
No,
way
it goes to a different satellite.
that's right, it goes from one
zooms off
satellite to
a second
another.
satellite, and then it goes down to the US.
Which makes me go, do they not think we understand how phones or wireless communication works? Because,
Yeah.
because it's so unnecessary. Like, he's on a phone. I never actually thought,
Yeah,
like,
but what else are they going to fill this film up with? They need these weird techniques because they don't have enough plot, obviously.
It's presented as a twist that he's not in Sophia, and I
Yeah.
never thought he was in Sophia. He's on the phone.
Guys, you're
He
not
could
going to
be-
believe this. He's making an overseas phone call.
This movie came out in 2013, and he's like, yeah, he was on the phone overseas.
They definitely added a good extra 3 minutes on to describe the fact that he was making the call from the other side of the world. But I enjoyed it because I was like, something's fun. Like, something's happening.
What was the other movie we watched where they're like, ah, yes, they did it. Oh, no, it was a fucking episode of Cold Case where they were like, yes, and they managed to solve it through the technology of GPS, or the Global Positioning System, and like explain how GPS works.
Do you mean Forensic Files?
Yes,
Because
I meant
Cold
Forensic
Case
Files.
is a drama.
That's right.
It has
But
that
it's
theme
the
song
same
where it's like, and then it's got that chick who's the lead with the weird feathery blonde cut, and you always think she's going to end up with the other male lead, but he's married, but then his wife kills himself.
Yeah, but
herself.
I meant Forensic Files, the
Right.
totally unadulterated doco series about how some cases are unsolved and they lead you through it, and the solution is often, yeah, we were just stumped until we used the power of forensics to
Yeah.
find the fingerprint of the man who also, just as a side note, told us that he did it.
But
Good.
they really cinched the case with DNA.
Every episode ends with them going like, yep, it was forensics that did it.
It always is. It's like, I never would have been able to figure it out if it wasn't for that swab.
What's love got to do with it?
Every episode is just a different Xanadu, do, etc.
Do you want to hear some
I
trivia?
would love to hear some trivia.
I actually have a lot of trivia because there was a lot to know about this movie. There is no CGI in any car crash scenes. All the crashes in the movie are real.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It is cool, and it's part of a greater thing that we haven't touched on, which is I really think the director was trying very hard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, I actually feel bad for the director almost. I mean, he probably wrote it, but the director, by the way, was Courtney Solomon, who also directed the Dungeons and Dragons movie, which was very panned.
Never heard of it.
It's not good. But he's clearly trying very hard. I don't know
Yeah.
if he wrote the script or not, but the script is definitely a large part of what holds it back. The Shelby Super Snake Mustang is such a rare car that Shelby had to make cars especially for the production
Oh, wow.
because they crashed so many of them.
Fuck.
Yeah. Similarly,
Wait, so they're making cars to crash them in a movie?
yeah.
Can you imagine being that fucking technician working on that car, being like these fucking Hollywood films, saying this fucking car just so they can destroy it? I'm not even gonna fucking send this.
Or every Hollywood movie that involves any object getting destroyed, someone made that.
Yeah, but I would think that the prop was already on hand, or like the actual car itself was already on hand. It's wild that they specifically made these cars knowing it would get destroyed in a movie.
But because they had a limited amount of cars and lots of different takes and stuff, the damage done to the car frequently disappears and reappears between scenes or even between shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many continuity errors with this film.
It's kind of, the movie kind of plays like a video game in which like in each level it gets really damaged, and then like in between scenes it like heals up.
Yeah.
Like in the cutscenes.
Yeah. Oh, does your car not heal up?
No.
That's what you do
That's
when
why I
you leave
had
it. When you park it and leave it overnight, it heals up a little bit.
I wish you
Levels
told
up.
me that before they wrote off my car
Oh
last
my
year.
god.
This was one of my favorite things. The film has somewhere around 6,150 edits in it, as opposed to the average of 1,600.
That's literally like 4 times.
It's
the
4
amount.
times more.
It's really fast.
It's noticeable. You can feel
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, because you almost get motion sickness while watching the film.
It's incomprehensible.
The best bit of the film for me was in the final chase sequence in the third, like in that like climax. They're doing a chase sequence where it's one long shot of from his point of view following the car that the kid is in, Celine is in, the big van, and it's just watching the back of it and it's racing through these streets and it's trying to catch up to the car. It didn't break that for like a minute, 2 minutes, and
Yeah.
it was nice. I was like, oh,
It was good.
yeah.
Like genuinely really good. During the first month of filming, the production had already amassed its own junkyard. Like, there was another statistic that I forgot to write down where they crashed an outrageous number of cars.
So they shot this fucking terrible film and then created a junkyard of smashed cars. Like every
yeah.
day they were just piling in 5 more destroyed cars.
They were trying so hard on this movie.
Sometimes movies just shouldn't be made, especially these ones.
Well, yeah, if art is usually made like for a thematic purpose, you're trying to answer a question about the universe, or at least make the audience think of that question and then come to their own conclusion. I don't think this movie has a thought at any point.
I don't know. It gave us a pretty distinct answer at the end of the film, which is the voice in the same country? Is he overseas? And then they very explicitly showed us.
Actually,
and I was like,
using
that
the
made
power
it
of
worth
satellite. And here's the last one. I love this one. When the city power plant is destroyed in a truly spectacular series of explosions, the city is shown experiencing a total blackout. For the rest of the movie, there is not a single light out, not a street light, traffic light, or building light, negating the whole premise of the robbery. So they cause a blackout, and then nothing turns off.
I hate this fucking film. What's next? What's next? Give me the next bit.
No, that was my last.
Oh, thank God.
Do you want to hear some reviews then?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Reviews!
John Anderson of the Wall Street Journal said, "Be forewarned, there are many miles to go before we get to the end, and it will feel like an eternity before any of it makes sense," which is my favorite version of that poem that you're going to correct me who made it, like miles to go before I sleep. You know that one?
Oh, like there are miles to go before I sleep, the Robert Frost poem.
Robert Frost.
Yeah.
I like that poem.
I like it too. I like all of Robert Frost.
Yeah.
He's my dad's favorite poet.
Now I'm going to quote the famous John Anderson review, "Many miles to go before we get to the end, and an eternity before it makes sense."
I just absolutely want to check that before we move on, because I would hate to find out in a week that you're like, it wasn't Robert Frost.
Yeah. Here is a quote from The Atlantic on Selena Gomez in this. "A kid trying desperately to act like a grown-up, but with no real idea of what that might entail."
Yeah.
Which I totally agree with. I joked to my girlfriend after I watched it that, like, she feels like she's play acting a grown-up.
Yeah.
Okay, now we get into the real the real ones.
The nitty-gritties.
Yeah. Here's one called "I Like It" from Tamara-Mizik119. "I just don't know why everyone says that is so bad. I don't think so. I think it was really good, except maybe writing. The writing isn't really bad, but it isn't great as everything else. I like the movie because it pumps your adrenaline. It has great filming and acting and story. It wasn't waste of my time, and I actually really enjoyed it. I'm glad I watched this movie. It was for free, but I wouldn't regret it if I paid for it. This isn't the type of movie who you can't watch till the end because you're bored. It really captures your attention. I'm a fan of Selena Gomez, but I didn't watch this movie because of her. When I watched the trailer, it seemed to me like a good movie. Well, I wasn't wrong. It's great! Selena acting to me in this movie is good. Some of you think it isn't good to pick Selena for this movie. Well, I think the opposite. It didn't bother me, and it was good choice picking her. I proudly recommend to anyone to watch this movie.
Do you reckon
10 out of 10.
Do you reckon they were happy that Selena was picked for this movie? I just wish they'd be a bit more clear about it next time.
I also need you to understand how many commas there were, and also how much there wasn't spaces between the punctuation.
Some IMDb reviews are truly just a visual feast.
Yes. 10 out of 10. The writing isn't great. Here's the next one. So underrated. By Queef97.
Queef97.
Well, it's CWF, which I definitely think is just pronounced. I saw this movie at Regal Cinemas at Kingston with my friend and father, and unlike many other people, I thought it was great, including the acting from Ethan Hawke and Selena Gomez. This movie has one of Gomez's underrated roles, while her role from Hotel Transylvania as overrated. For example, Selena Gomez's character from Getaway says, "Holy S," rather than "Holy rabies." The movie would have been better with a different director, like James Cameron or Martin Scorsese.
Well, yeah.
The dialogue was well written, but the action scenes were not well written. I think that people should watch Getaway more than once to understand what I'm saying. It may seem weird at first, but it actually is hardcore. I made a parody of one scene from this movie featuring footage from Nightmare Before Christmas and Hotel Transylvania. 10 out of 10.
This person is bizarre.
the movie would have been better if someone else directed it.
And the
but
action scenes weren't well written. 10 out of 10.
Sometimes you really get a view into someone else's life through these reviews.
You do.
So what was your review?
I actually enjoyed, again, my view is now stunted. We've done a lot of films now. We've done over 40 of these fucking films.
Yeah, I think a lot of things about us are stunted.
A lot
because
of things
these
have
movies.
changed. We'll have to have like a real, like, we'll really need to touch base around the 200 mark just to be like, all right, are you okay? Because I don't know if I'm okay, but maybe you're okay. I don't know.
They quit 1 year in. Citing it as too traumatizing.
Brain went mish. But on the scale of the movies that we've watched so far, I actually found it quite enjoyable, quite silly, and it was nice and brief. Brief is always the key with me because they're all shit.
Yeah,
So-
you know, when you watch a movie and you're like, it wasn't long, and that's my favorite part.
Thank God. Every time I see these, like, I watch these films, I'm like, thank fuck, it's 90 minutes long. I give this a solid, and the editing was crazy and the performances were terrible. I give this a solid, it was inoffensive too.
Yes.
I give this a solid, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Again, I wouldn't give it to this film if I was watching it regularly, but in context with the other films in this batch,
We're learning how to
high.
grade on a curve.
we are.
Our complete objectivity is slowly morphing into, well, you know, when you scrape the bottom of the barrel, you take what you can get.
Who said that? Jody Mitchell?
No, it's just me.
Aristotle.
No, it's just me.
Nietzsche.
But then I also said that you're actually gonna like pave paradise,
Right.
and you don't know what you've got till it's gone.
Right. That was Aristotle.
Yeah.
Right.
But then I recontextualized it because he didn't have a parking lot. So he said, like, you pave over paradise with a chariot spot. Rough.
Chariot spot. Hang on, I'll give you an edit out point.
Yeah, thanks. Neat. Wow, yeah, this movie. Insightful opinion. Yeah, I don't know. Like, this movie, if it was actually, like, the opening 8 minutes is one of the most completely insane things I've ever watched. And, like, I wouldn't be able to possibly stand it if the full 90 minutes was like that. But I also think this movie's main crime is its second act is excruciatingly boring.
Yeah.
Like, it actually doesn't go far enough.
Yeah.
It really could push its premise a lot more. But the director is trying hard, clearly, and they're clearly trying to do something interesting. It just doesn't work on any level. I was going to give it a 2.5, but I think because I would potentially rewatch this for a bad movie night, I'll bump it up to a 3.
Nice.
But I don't think it's very good.
No.
even on a curve.
Guys, you're not going to believe this, but wasn't too good. Just didn't enjoy this one. No Raw 1. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, woof. No Vampire in Brooklyn.
My top film is Raw 1. My bottom film is Sex and the City 2, for sure.
Yeah, it was no striptease. Which, you know what? Even though Raw 1 is definitely our most joyous one, I actually think Striptease and Vampire in Brooklyn are probably my, like, on reflection, my 2 favorite movies on this list, as in terms of quality.
You're betraying the Raw 1 cause.
In terms of enjoyment, I would probably put Jason Takes Manhattan as number 1.
That's just lame, brah. That's just lame.
Well, that was Getaway. So don't forget to follow us on social media. You can find us on Twitter at RateDescendPod or email us at ratingdescending@gmail.com.
Or you can find us personally. You can find me on Instagram under Abigail J. Ward.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram under Michelle.St. Clair.
And don't forget to drop us a review on Apple Podcasts. It really makes a difference, you guys.
And what are we watching next week, Abigail?
Next week, we are watching The Darkness.
Ooh.
It's got Kevin Bacon and looks silly.
Yeah, we are back on the train of bad horror.
Bad horror made in the last 10 years is my least favorite category we've come across. It's
It
just,
might be my least favorite genre.
yeah, it's really awful. It's a real slog. But we're ready.
But it'll be a great episode.
You gotta see us there. It's gonna be so good.
Holy
You
shit.
better be there. Nice. Should be like, dude. Wait until we're done.
The Darkness.
Right on, man. You guys have an awesome week ahead, bro.